Hey guys, welcome back to another video. This is Eric from Egot Tech. As you all know, the new Note 10 just came out. Pretty hard to miss unless you've been living under a rock. So there are ads everywhere, YouTube, Facebook, TV, cable, even on those huge billboards here in Manila. Question is, should you upgrade? Well, in this video, I'm going to be sharing my thoughts and let you guys decide whether to upgrade or not. As you may have noticed on my desk, there are a couple of Note 10 units. So starting from the left, I've got the Note 10 Plus limited edition. This is the Aura Glow color. Only comes in this color and it's at 512 gig storage. The one in the middle here is the Note 10 Plus base, which is 256 gig. So there's no longer any 128 version for the Note 10. So the base one is 256 gig. This one comes in the Aura White, though it does also have the Aura Black color and the Aura Glow in this region. The one on the right is the smaller Note 10. It only comes in the Aura Glow and Aura Black here, and it's also at 256 gig. For pricing, in case you're interested, the Note 10 comes in around 950 US dollars. The Note 10 Plus 256 comes in around 1100, and for the 512 it comes in 1200. So there is actually a more expensive version, the Note 10 5G. It's not released yet here since 5G hasn't been officially rolled out, but that's going to be setting you back a couple more dollars. So for the Note 10 5G base, which is 256, you're going to be spending around $1,300 for that. And for the 512, it's going to be a huge, eye-watering $1,400. So I won't go into too much detail on the specs of the Note 10 that you have here. I'm going to be covering it in another video. Alright, back to the question on hand. Should you upgrade? In all honesty, if you've got a recent flagship phone within the last 2 years, you don't really won't notice the difference in day-to-day use. But how would I know that when all my Note 10 units are all still sealed in their boxes? Well, fair point, but I do have the S10 Plus here. It runs on Exynos 9820 compared to the Note 10, which is running in the Exynos 9825, which is only an incremental upgrade. Both phones run on the latest Android 9 Pie and also the same One UI. So it's very similar from a usability perspective. Of course, minus the S Pen since S10 Plus doesn't have an S Pen. And also, nothing has changed on the camera. What you get on the S10 Plus is exactly the same camera that you have on the Note 10 and then, on the Note 10 Plus, only the orientation is different. So if you see here, this is arranged horizontally, but for the Note 10, it's vertical. So similar to the P30 Pro. Now you all might think I'm bashing Samsung here, but no, I'm not. I've been using Samsung phones since the original Galaxy S, and my first Note is actually the Note 3. You can see here, it's still alive and kicking. It may not be able to run the newer games as smooth, but simple games like Temple Run, Subway Surfer, and the like still runs well. And if you're just going to be using it for social media, so Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, it's going to be a good phone, still going to be a good phone. It still has a 1080p Super AMOLED display, so I'll just show you how it looks like. Yeah, so you can see display is still very vivid. I still got a lot of apps on it. I'm not actually using it day to day. It's just sitting in my drawer here, but it still has the S Pen, so you can still write down notes similar to what you're going to be getting on the Note 10. So except, of course, you don't have the Bluetooth capability, so you can't take snapshots from far away. So, but I can count in the hand how many times I've used that. All right, so Alright, sorry, got sidetracked there. Should I buy it? If you can't go a year without actually upgrading, and if you have the money to burn, then by all means, yes. But my recommendation is if you're going to be upgrading your phone, follow the 2 year cycle. So usually Samsung and other manufacturers follow 2 years before there's any changes to the design. So if you notice, I've got a couple older notes over here. So you've got the Note 8 And the Note 9 is just an incremental upgrade. They just moved the fingerprint sensor from there to a more reachable one there, and it actually changed the design going on to the Note 10, similar to the S8 going to S10. So there's a two cycles before there was a refresh on the design. So actually, this Android scene has reached a point where we have more RAM than we actually need. So which is why if you notice the trend, phone companies like Huawei and Samsung, they're actually focusing on other aspects, not just faster memory, faster CPU, faster GPU. Of course, there are incremental upgrades there, but they're focusing now on cameras. So when the Note 3 came out, it just has one. And then the Note 8, we came up with this is the first Note that has two cameras. And then the Note 9 still retains the two cameras, but the Note 10 comes in with four. So the only difference with the S10 Plus and the Note 10 Plus is that this has a time of flight. So I'm going to be using the Note 10 Plus for a while and see if that time of flight sensor actually makes a difference. But the regular Note 10 or the smaller Note 10 has exactly the same camera setup as the S10 Plus. This doesn't have the time of flight sensor. So if you have the so let's say you've got a Note 9 or you've got the S10 Plus. There's no point in upgrading since you're going to be losing the headphone jack. So the S10 Plus still has the headphone jack. So if you move on to the Note 10, even the smaller Note 10 or the Note 10 Plus, they both don't no longer have the headphone jack. And one thing missing on the Note 10 is that this doesn't have the micro SD, so you can't expand your memory anymore. Only reason I can think of why Samsung made the smaller Note is to capitalize on the Note brand and for people who can't afford the more expensive Note 10 Plus. And also it's a smaller form factor, so there are people who complain that the Note is big. So case in point is the Note 9. It's still a very big phone, so big on the hand. So it's gonna be hard to use one-handed. So not as big as the Rogue ROG, but it's still hard to use one-handed. The Android scene has actually reached the point where we have more RAM than we need, which is why if you notice the trend, phone companies like Huawei, Samsung, they're focusing on other aspects of the phone, the camera, the screen, still hit the notch and the screen to body ratio. Even the newer phones like OnePlus and Oppo, including Vivo, they've got that pop-up camera. Not really a fan of mechanical parts, so I'm not really sure how well they'll hold up long term. So if you have the Note 9 or the S10 Plus, I don't really see the point of upgrading. So on the Note 10 you're going to be missing out a couple of key features. Number one is you don't have a micro SD slot on this one and no headphone jack. So as well, the smaller Note 10 for some reason comes only in 1080. So that's a downgrade from even the Note 5. And take note, guys, the Note 5 came out 4 years ago. That phone came in a Quad HD resolution. I don't see the reason why Samsung had to skimp on the smaller Note 10. Only reason I can think of is maybe they're trying to cut corners or maybe lower the price. But for an extra $100, you can opt for the bigger Note 10 Plus, which has the Quad HD. Only thing that I can think of as well, there are complaints from users that the regular Note 10 Plus is too big to use, and the Note 10 is definitely handy. So I'll be doing a review on this and let you guys know how it feels from day to day. Well, there you have it. There's no question that the Note 10 is Samsung's latest and greatest, but for half the price, you can actually get a couple of really good phones, namely the gaming phones that I recently reviewed. So you've got the ROG 2 here. This is half the price of the 512 gig Note 10 Plus, and the Black Shark 2 Pro similarly priced, and the budget Red Magic 3, which is very, very affordable. And you get almost the same experience when you're gaming, but only caveat here is this one only has a single camera. So if you want an all-around phone, I can't recommend the Red Magic 3 as it's primarily good for gaming and not much else. So why did I purchase the Note 10 then? Well, this is one of the main reasons why I created the channel. I wanted to review the latest tech so you guys can make an informed decision before parting ways with your hard-earned money. And it also gives me an excuse to buy the latest tech and review them before anyone else. As always, please like and subscribe, hit that bell icon so you can get notified whenever I upload a new video, and see you all on my next one.